Good afternoon, everyone. And today's video is on the topic of adjectives, degrees of comparison, which is Unit 16 in your grammar workbook. Now, we all learned about adjectives in a lot of detail about adjectives and the different kinds of adjectives. And today we're going to learn how to compare and to find out which noun has a quality which is the most of what it can be in a group of nouns. When we compare two nouns, we use a particular degree, a degree of comparison. And when we're talking about one quality in a particular noun and how we describe it. Okay, so this unit is about adjectives and the degrees of comparison. All right, so let's just go straight into the lesson. You're already such an expert on what adjectives are and the function of an adjective. Okay, you know that adjective is a describing word. It describes a noun. All right, so now let's learn about the different degrees of comparison of adjectives. Okay, all right, so let's go straight into that. I like this color. Oh, it's kind of like what I'm wearing today. Okay, I didn't do that on purpose. It's just a coincidence. All right, so let's start off with, of course, the definition of an adjective. Okay, now you all know what an adjective is. An adjective is a describing word. Okay, you can have a group of words also which describe a noun. All right, now we describe qualities. Okay, in a noun, it can be how they are. Okay, how much of it is there, the number of the noun that is there, and so forth. Here's let's talk about qualities and how we compare these qualities in either two of the same noun, or when we are doing a comparison related with many nouns in the same place. Okay, so now we use adjectives all the time. When we're talking to each other, especially when you want to describe something to somebody, we use adjectives so that the other person whom we're talking to gets a pretty clear idea of uh, whether you're describing a house, a dog, a friend of yours, your aunt, your mom, your uncle, anyone or anything. We use certain words to describe them. Okay, so we use adjectives every day to describe zillions of things all the time. From the time you're able to talk and you're able to see things, you know what color is, you know size, you know shape. We are constantly using describing words right from a very, very young age. All right, and they can be words such as big, old, green, wide, narrow, warm, cool, okay, muddy, clear, bright, dim, dull, etc. Okay, we use it all the time. We use different adjectives. Our vocabulary of adjectives is quite staggering. All right. So now, adjectives may come before a noun, like a pretty girl, a big house, a yellow flower, a cold day. So you have these adjectives which come before a noun, all right, in a sentence. Now look at the usage of these adjectives where the adjective is coming before the noun, describing it, all right, in these sentences. This is a big garden. Big is the adjective. Garden is the noun that is being described, which follows the adjective. I found an old clock. We're talking about a clock that is old. Old comes before the noun clock in this sentence. I found an old clock in the attic. He lives in the green valley. Okay. He lives in a green valley would be better. So the valley is being described as being green and lush. It is a wide road. The road is being described. Wide followed by the noun. Okay? It is a warm day. The day is warm. Warm describes the kind of day it is. Warm followed by the noun day. I saw a muddy stream. Stream is being described as muddy, okay? And it comes after the adjective. He thought of a bright idea. Idea is the noun. Bright describes the kind of idea that it is. All right? So now, adjectives may come even after the noun in a sentence, not necessarily always before the noun. Now, let's take the same sentences in the previous slide, from the previous slide, and let's put the adjectives after the verb, after the noun in the sentence. This garden is big. The clock that I found is old. Now, we are talking about the clock. It is still describing the clock, but as you have noticed, the adjective is coming either at the end of the sentence, it's actually in the predicate part of the sentence, okay, or it is found way after the noun, not before it. Okay, now this garden is big. Now you know subject, you know predicate. In this case, the subject is the garden, the predicate is what is being said about the subject. Is big is the predicate. So you can find the adjective in the predicative part of the sentence. Now look at this one. The clock that I found, okay, is the subject. Now we don't say just that the clock is the subject. The clock along with its description, the clock that I found, okay, describes the clock. Is old is the predicate. The valley where he lives is the subject, the valley along with the description. Where he lives is what is describing the valley. The valley where he lives is green, is the predicate part of the sentence. The road is the subject, we're talking about the road. Is wide, predicative part of the sentence. The day is warm, describes the day. The stream is muddy, describes the stream. His idea is bright, describes his idea. So initially in the previous slide, we said big garden, old clock, green valley, wide road, warm day, muddy stream, and bright idea. So now we have put all the adjectives in the predicative part of the sentence. Okay? So when the adjective is placed before the noun, it is being used attributively or it is in the attributive use. When the adjective is placed after the noun in a sentence, it is said to be a predicative use of the adjective. Okay? So now let's continue. So it is the same thing what I spoke about a few seconds ago. Attributive usage is when the adjective is used before the noun to describe it. For example, this is a pretty flower. Pretty followed by the noun flower. Predicative usage is when the adjective is used in the predicative part of the sentence after the noun. This flower is pretty. Pretty describes the flower in both the sentences, except the position of the adjective is different. Understood? Now, now we learn about the different degrees of comparing adjectives. Okay? So you have 3 degrees of comparison. All right? You have adjectives, the comparison in the positive degree, comparative degree, and the superlative. Now, with these examples, you'll be able to accurately identify the degree of comparison which is being used in each sentence. All right? So, when we are talking about anything, about a quality uh, of a noun, we can just talk about it. For example, let's see. What can I say? This is a very good grammar book. Okay, good book. It's a good book. It's a good read. It's very educational, informational. Okay, it is a good book, right? So I am Right now, talking the adjective is describing the quality of the book, a good book. All right. So now, in this sentence, it is a warm day. We're just talking about the quality of that noun. We're not comparing it to any other day. We're not comparing it to many days. We're just talking about that one particular day. It is a warm day. Okay. We talk about things, describing them without comparing them to anything else. This is the positive degree of comparison of an adjective. All right. So the day is being described as being warm without comparing it to any other day. Right. So here the adjective warm is said to be written in the positive degree, since this offers no comparison to any other noun, okay, of its kind. It just tells us about the existence of a quality in something. For example, I'm tall. Okay, Leela ma'am is tall. It is the quality that I have, okay, of being tall. Okay, so the word tall, the adjective tall, is being used in the positive degree. For example, the flower is beautiful. That one quality of the flower. It may smell nice, it may be colorful, but we're just talking about one quality of the flower, which is beautiful, right? Not comparing it to any other flowers. My shoes are new. This pair of shoes that I have is new, not being compared with anything, any other shoes. This expensive watch is mine, not being compared. One watch, the quality that it has is that it is expensive. So, okay, so that is the adjective of the positive degree. Now let's go to the adjectives, okay, in the comparative degree. Now the word comparative immediately tells you comparison. When do you compare something? Okay, when maybe two things are in front of you, so you compare it. Okay, so we use certain words to compare two nouns. Okay, and these words are obviously adjectives because you're using it to describe. So you're describing the difference or the comparison you make between two nouns. All right, so let's see how it's been done. So when two things are compared to show which has got the lesser or greater degree of quality of that particular noun, the adjective is used in the comparative degree. Okay, like we were talking about, it is a warm day. Let's take the day, the noun day. Okay, so today is warmer than yesterday. Okay, it is a warm day. I said that yesterday, but today is warmer than yesterday. I have compared the 2 days. I've compared yesterday and today, and I found that today it is warmer than yesterday. So as you can see, I have compared 2 days. In this, two nouns have been compared. Okay, this flower is more beautiful than that one. So we were talking about this flower is beautiful, but now I saw something else which I felt is more beautiful than that one. So here two flowers are being compared, and we have seen the quality of beauty which is more in this flower than the other one. Okay? Now again, that watch is more expensive than mine. Let's say you meet your friend and then you say, this watch is really expensive. But I think your watch, it is this brand, it is definitely more expensive than mine. You're comparing two watches in this situation. Okay. This apple is redder than that one. Now, apples come in so many different colors. You have apples which look pink, which actually my favorite, with a little bit of yellow in it. Some look yellow, some look green, some look like really red. Okay, so now you've seen two apples. One has got a pinkish hue, but one looks really red. So you're comparing two apples, and you said this apple is redder than that one. The word than in the case of comparative degree, when two are being compared, we always follow the comparative form of the adjective. It is always followed by than when two objects are being compared. Okay, So this red rose is prettier. We're talking about how pretty it is, the quality of prettiness. Pretty is prettier than the pink one. Okay, so you know by the word what quality, the degree of the quality is being compared, the quality of how pretty the flower is. So this red rose is prettier than that one. This color looks brighter than that one. Okay, so you see two colors in front of you and you say you agree, yes, this color is definitely brighter than that one. So in the comparative degree, two of the noun are being compared. Two nouns are being compared. Okay, only two. All right, not more than that. Two are being compared. For example, my brother is shorter than me. So my brother and myself, we are comparing each other, and I have decided that my brother is shorter than me. But of course, Mike sir is way taller than I am. Notice how than always follows the comparative form of the adjective. Sorry, I've written verb there. It is not verb, it is my mistake. I apologize profusely. Okay, the comparative form of the adjective, right? The comparative form of the adjective than always follows the comparative form of the adjective. All right. Now look at this. He is more intelligent than Ravi. So you're comparing Ravi and somebody. He is more intelligent than Ravi. She dances better than Rosa. Okay. Iron is more useful than silver. Iron and silver are the two metals which are being compared, and we are using the comparative degree more useful than. The sky looks bluer than it did yesterday. So here we're talking about the sky, the quality it had yesterday and today. Okay. So today the sky looks bluer than it did yesterday, right? So the quality of its blueness is being compared. Now, we have learnt about adjectives of the positive degree, the comparison of in the positive degree of comparison, the comparative degree, and now we learn about the superlative. Okay, superlative means the most of the quality. I can't think of a better way to put it. There is a quality in something, but the most of that quality is found in among all the other nouns. This has the most of the quality. Okay, so now let's see. An adjective in the superlative degree expresses the extreme or the highest, the super. You can the word superlative, the most or the extreme or the highest degree of a quality of a noun. Okay, among all the nouns of its kind. Okay, is expressed by the superlative form of the adjective. All right. For example, this movie is the best I have ever seen, which means you've seen so many movies, but this movie is the best. All right? This puppy is the sweetest puppy of all. There are so many puppies. I'm surrounded by yapping, cute puppies. But this puppy is the sweetest puppy of all. All right? He is the most intelligent student in the class, which means there are lots of students in the class, but he is definitely the most intelligent of all the students in the class. Iron is the most useful metal in the world. The most useful metal in the world, meaning out of all the metals in the world, iron is the most useful. Today is the warmest day of the year, which means among all the days of the year, today is the warmest day of the year. He has the worst handwriting in the class. Now, believe me, I've seen so many different types of handwriting, really good handwriting, better handwriting, the best handwriting, okay? But he has the worst handwriting in his class, okay? Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. There are so many mountains, but Mount Everest is the highest of all the mountains in the world. Noticed this. I'm sure you've all noticed that the article the is coming before the superlative form of the adjective in every single sentence. Okay? The best, the sweetest, the most intelligent, the most useful, the warmest, the worst, the highest. The. Right? This rule is always followed. Okay? Unless the rest of the sentence states that there is a comparison between only two nouns. Okay? For example, he has the better handwriting of the two. You won't say he has the best handwriting of the two. You say he has the better handwriting of the two. This rose has the sweeter smell of the two. Maybe you have a pink and a white rose. Let's say the white rose smells sweeter. So this rose has a sweeter smell of the two, right? The sweeter smell of the two. You're still using an article the before it, but because you're saying the word two, you are uh, using the comparative form of the verb or of the adjective, which is sweeter, better, instead of sweetest and best. Understood? Now let's see. This is an example like the explanation I just gave. This flower is the, but the next degree of comparison is for the comparative degree. It is not the superlative. For example, you cannot say this flower is the prettiest of the two because only two are being compared. So even though we are using the before the form of the adjective, we're using the comparative form because only two are being compared here. Understood? So this is a little tricky. So when I give the question paper and I give you questions based on this, be very careful whether you say it's in the comparative or whether you say it's in the superlative. Or if I tell you to fill a blank, make sure, supposing I say this flower is the dash of the two, you know that you have to say prettier and not prettiest. Understood? So in this case, the will precede the comparative form of the adjective since only two are being compared. Okay, we've done this a lot of time in class, but there's no harm in repeating it because that way you remember it. My uncle is the older of the two brothers. So we don't say oldest, we say the older. Okay? She is the more intelligent of the two sisters. Instead of saying she is the most intelligent, of the two sisters, we'll say she is the more intelligent, okay? Because we're not comparing lots of sisters, we're comparing only two. My auntie has the better house of the two. The better house of the two, but that means I have two aunties, and my auntie, okay, this auntie has a better house of the two. So be careful when you're writing in the comparative or the superlative. So there are a few rules to be followed. Of course, there are. It's grammar. You're always rules, 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 rules. But once you know these rules, you have no problem and you become a grammar expert. That is the goal. Okay? So there are a few rules to be followed to change the adjective. Okay? All right? From the positive to the comparative, or from the comparative to the superlative. Or if I give you just the positive and I tell you to make it into the superlative form, you will know how to do it if you know the rules. All right? So adjectives, now these are the rules. You have to know it. Okay? Now children, when you compare things, you must have noticed that adjectives that end with a consonant. Now look at the adjectives on the extreme left. Okay? You have on this side. Okay? You can see that all the words are ending with a consonant, like loud, small, green, cold, narrow, and dark. D, L, N, T, W, K. All these are consonants, right? So when an adjective ends in a consonant, to change it into the comparative, you have to add ER. Okay? You have to add ER. So loud becomes louder, and obviously you know that when you are changing from the positive to the comparative and you're comparing two nouns, you will use louder than. The music is loud, okay? This music is louder than when they played it yesterday, okay? And the loudest, this is the loudest I have ever heard the music, the volume I've ever heard the music being played, the loudest. Okay, so we add est in the superlative, right? So we usually have an er added in the comparative and est in the superlative. Okay, so here these are the examples of when you add er and you add est. Okay, when the adjective ends with a consonant. Okay, so we have small, positive degree, smaller than, comparative, and the smallest in the superlative. And similarly, green, greener than, the greenest, cold, colder than, and the coldest in the superlative. Narrow, narrower than, and the narrowest in the superlative. Dark in the positive degree, darker than in the comparative, and the darkest in the superlative. Okay, now I have lots of examples, and these examples are when the adjective either ends with a consonant, and in this case you can see the adjective is ending with a e. All right, so I'm sure you would have guessed it already. In the positive degree, all the adjectives are ending with e. So in this case, when you want to write the comparative form, you just have to add an R. As simple as that. So ripe, riper than, just add an R. Brave, braver than. Large, larger than. Wise, wiser than. Strange, write strange and just write an R. Stranger than. Simple, simpler than. Okay, just add an R in the comparative form of the degree. Now let's go to the superlative. So we'll say the ripest. E is already there, so you just have to add an st to the superlative form of the adjective in the case of adjectives that end with an e. All right, so ripe, riper than, the ripest. Brave, braver than, the bravest. Large, larger than, the largest. Wise, wiser than, the wisest. Strange, stranger than, the strangest. Simple, simpler than, the simplest. Okay, so now we go to short word adjectives. Okay, now you must have definitely heard of the word syllable. A syllable is basically a sound when you're talking in each word. For example, if I say Lee La, my name, there are two syllables in it, two sounds. Lee La. Okay, if I say book, just one sound. It's a short sound. Supposing I say clock, just one sound. If I say curtain, it's curtain, two syllables, two sounds. Okay, supposing I say phone, one sound. Supposing I say fat, one sound. Okay, supposing I say English, English, two syllables. Printer, two syllables. Then let's say garden, two syllables. Garden. Now let's take the word beautiful. Beautiful, four syllables. Intelligent, four syllables. Inventive, three syllables. Infectious, three syllables. Okay, industrious, four syllables. Now I'm going to talk about words which have a very short sound. Okay, on the left you can see the examples like big, hot, fat, thin, red. All of them have just one sound. Okay, they all end with consonants, as you can see. Now in these cases, okay, but all words are not like that. We always don't end short words by in the way that is going to be explained here. For example, you take these short words, the last consonant of these short words, okay, we double it in the comparative form of the adjective and in the superlative form of the adjective. Okay, so when the word ends with G, okay, you write big and add another G and then add uh, the ER just like you do in the comparative, and EST as what you do in the superlative. So here it's BIG, bigger than, BIGGER, than, BI the, BIGGEST, the biggest. Okay, it's very simple. All right. Look at very short words, which are descriptive words, which are adjectives in the positive degree. Double the consonant in the comparative and double the consonant in the superlative. Add er in the comparative and add est, okay, in the superlative. Bigger than, the biggest. He has a big house. Her house is bigger than his, but her house is the biggest of all of them. Okay? Hot. T is doubled. Hotter than, the hottest. Fat. T is doubled again. It's the last consonant. Fatter than. Okay? Or the fattest. Thinner than. THINNER. Thinner than and the thinnest. Red. Redder than, the reddest. Okay, so don't forget this, children, because supposing I add just BIG, just add an ER, it will become biger. HOTER will become hoter. Okay, FATER will become fater. Okay, and then THINER will become thiner, and REDER will become redder. Okay, so everything sounds weird. You have to have the correct spelling, and like I told you, short sounding words or which are adjectives will always double the consonant before you add ER or EST in the comparative and the superlative. Okay, now look at these words. When the words end with Y, that is when the adjectives end with Y, the spellings in the comparative and superlative don't follow the same uh, rule. Okay, if there is a consonant before the Y. Okay, now look at all these words on the left: happy, heavy, angry, cozy, and pretty. Okay, look at the Y in the last word in each adjective. Before the Y, you will find a consonant. Okay, that is everything in the alphabet except for A, E, I, O, U. You find a consonant. All right, in these cases, okay, what we do is we in the comparative we remove the Y and we add IER. So happy, Y is removed and we substitute, we add IER. The Y is not there, so it will be happier, happy, happier, and we remove the Y in the superlative and add IEST, happiest. So happy, happier, happiest. Only in the positive degree the adjective retains its original spelling, but in the comparative and the superlative, you remove the Y and you add IER and IEST. Okay, but only if there is a consonant before the Y. That is a rule. So happy, happier than, happiest. Heavy, heavier than, heaviest. V comes before the Y, which is a consonant. Angry, R comes before the Y, which is a consonant. Angrier than, the angriest. Cozy, Z comes before the Y, so we say cozier and the coziest. We remove the Y. Pretty, T comes before Y, which is a consonant. Prettier than and the prettiest. Okay? Now, when an adjective ends with Y, but there is a vowel before it, we treat it just like any other word which is ending with a consonant, and we just add ER in the comparative and est in the superlative. Okay, now you see the word gay. Gay means happy. Okay, gay is a old-fashioned word signifying happiness, and a person who's gay is said to be a happy person. All right. Okay. So gay, gayer than, because y has got an a before it, we will treat it just like an adjective which is ending with a consonant. You just add er in the comparative and est in the superlative. So gay, gayer than, and the gayest, the happiest man in town. Okay, or the happiest woman. Gray, grayer than, Gray. Grayer than. Sometimes gray is also spelt as grey. So still it's a vowel. So you will say grayer than and gray, the grayest. Coy means to act shy. When you're not really a shy person, but you act it and pretend to be shy, you're said to be coy. Okay? Sneaky. So coy, y before y is an o. So coy, coyer than, and the coyest. Okay, so this is when the adjective ends with a y, but there is a vowel before it. Okay, so now you have irregular adjectives, which means the adjectives are compared in an irregular manner, not following the very same rules like what we went through earlier. Okay, they sound very different in the comparative and very different in the superlative. Okay, so these you have to learn. All right. Okay, you have to learn it. Some of you may know it because you speak about adjectives and you compare them using these words, so you may find it easier. But I always suggest that you learn the correct spellings and you learn it really well. Okay, so now they don't follow the general rules in the comparative and the superlative. So let's see these irregularly compared adjectives. You have good, but have you ever heard anybody saying that this is a gooder color? Okay, or this is my handwriting is gooder than his? Never, never, never. Horror of it all. You say good, better than, and the best. All the three spellings are different. If you've noticed, good, better, best. Okay, they sound completely different. Okay, he is a good boy, or this is a good drawing, but that drawing is better than this one, but his drawing is the best. All right, bad, you don't say badder than. Okay, you say worse. Okay, like today is a cold day, it is really bad. Okay, yesterday was worse. Excuse me, but today I think it's going to be a snowstorm or a blizzard. It's the worst day of the month. Okay, so bad, worse, worst. Little, less than, the least. Now see, little sounds so different from less. Little, okay, when you have less than little, you say less. And when you have nothing at all, almost little bit left, you have the least. Okay, I have a little water in this jar. Okay, but this glass has got even less water than that. But look at that, there's barely any water in it. It's got the least amount of water. Okay, much. In the positive degree, more than, the most. Much, more than, the most. Far, further than, the farthest. You don't say furthest. Okay, the farthest. Okay, and then you have old, older than, elder than, the oldest, the eldest. Now, okay, I'll explain as we progress, because there's a separate explanation for the positive, comparative, and superlative form of the adjective for the word old. Okay, so that is separate. Okay, so now these are irregularly compared adjectives. You have to learn it and use it when you're talking. Now, look at these adjectives, the examples. Okay, it was cold last year. This winter is colder than last year. I think next winter might be the coldest we have ever had. So, colder than and the coldest. Rules are being followed for degrees of comparison. Okay, comparing the two nouns and comparing many nouns. Justin is hardworking, my imaginary buddy. Justin is hardworking. Julia is more hardworking than Justin, but Jason is the most hardworking of them all. Okay, now children, here I put a hyphen between hard and working. Okay, apparently hard working, when it is made into a whole sentence, it's used in different parts of the world with a hyphen and without one. Okay, but I think hard hyphen working looks and sounds like it should. All right, so we have used more hardworking than and the most hardworking of them all. So old, elder than, the eldest, or old, older than, and the oldest. Now here there is something which is very easy to remember when you use elder and when you use eldest. The children, if you're talking about members of your own family who are really, really close to you, we usually use the word elder. Or people who are very famous and you know about them, you can use the word elder, but usually it's used for your family members. For example, my brother is elder than me, or my sister is elder than my other brother. Okay, but when you're talking about somebody in general, supposing you have a neighbor, you say Mr. Dilip is older than Mr. Raj, for example. Okay, but my uncle is elder than my aunt. Okay, or my cousin is elder than my other cousin. I mean, we use elder than for our relatives or very close relations like brothers, sisters, uncle, aunts. My mom is younger than my father. Okay, or my father is elder than my mom. Okay, so this is the way we use the different degrees of comparison when we use the positive degree old, the adjective old, older than, or the oldest, or elder than, or the eldest. My father is the eldest among his brothers. So we use eldest here, not the oldest. Okay. So Mrs. Lorenzo is older than Mrs. Caesar, for example. People whom we don't know very well, older than. Now look, Irfan is my elder brother. You don't say older brother. Elder brother is works well enough. Okay. Now, if the adjective, now I remember I told you about single syllables and many syllables, the sounds they give. Okay. So when there is adjectives, sometimes adjectives which have two syllables also still follow the usual rule: er and est, er in the comparative and est in the superlative. But on an average, most words which have more than two syllables or two syllables, we use more then the comparative form in the comparative form, so more dash than. Okay, or we use, and in the superlative we say the dash, the most dash. Okay, so now I'll explain. Active, two syllables, active, more active than, the most active. For example, my grandmother is really active, but her grandfather is more active than your grandmother. But I think Mrs. Leslie there, okay, she's definitely the most active of them all. Expensive, expensive, three sounds, three syllables, okay. More expensive than, the most expensive. This is when the article is used the before the superlative form of the adjective. Courageous, more courageous than, courageous, three syllables, more courageous than, the most courageous. Okay. Infectious disease, the cold is an infectious, it's very infectious. You can catch a cold from anybody. It is infectious. Okay, but COVID-19 is more infectious than the cold. Oh my God, what are you talking about? COVID-19 is the most infectious. It is passed through just sneezing, and other person gets infected. Okay, if he's close enough or she's close enough, if you've got COVID-19. Intelligent, 4 syllables. More intelligent than in the comparative, and the most intelligent in the superlative. Magnificent. That horse is magnificent, but my horse is more magnificent than yours. But have you seen Mr. Fraser's horse? It is definitely the most magnificent horse I have ever seen in my life. Okay, so more syllables than one. The rule is usually you use more along with the form of the comparative form of the verb, and most, the most, with the superlative form of the word. Got that? Yes, you got it. Now let's look at the drawings and the examples. This is the fun part because I like to put these pictures, which kind of make it a little more interesting for you. All right, only for you. Mwah. Okay, Ramesh is tall. Okay, you can see Ramesh is tall. Ritesh is the middle guy. He is taller than Ramesh. And Varun is the tallest of them all. So here we are taking a quality of how tall these three boys are, and we are comparing two, and then we are doing the superlative form, which is a comparison of more than two. Okay, Durga is a lazy girl, really lazy. She's lazy. Positive degree. Manju is lazier than Durga. Oh my god, you don't know her. You haven't seen Manju. She's even lazier than Durga. Pushpa is the laziest of the three. Okay, she's the laziest of all the three. There are three sisters, but she is definitely the laziest of all three sisters. Now I have three doggies. You know that. You know I have Gypsy, I have Romy, and I have Cody. Now Gypsy is intelligent. She is really intelligent. Romy is more intelligent than Gypsy. But Cody is the super dog. He is the most intelligent of all three of them all. Okay. Bucci. Now, these are my three cats, but of course, I just got cats from the internet who looked like my cats, and I put them because I don't know, I just felt like it. Because I love kitties so much. I want to squeeze them, and I want to squash them, and I want to feed them, and I want to play with them because that I love them so very much because they're my kitties. I have 14 kitties. Oh my goodness, I just realized that I haven't kissed them today, but I'm going to do it as soon as I finish this class. Bucci, the gray one, Bucci is playful. She's very playful. She's playful. Baloo, she's my black Persian cat. She's more playful than Bucci. More playful than Bucci, right? But then I have three kittens I told you, which they were born a few months back. Their names are Bob and Laddu, and we call her Veggie. Okay, so all of them look kind of like this. Okay, except for Laddu, who's kind of a grey and black striped cat, but the others are orange and white with dots. So this one is Bobby. Bobby is the most playful of them all. She's the youngest actually. She's about 4 months old. So obviously she's going to be the most playful. So Bucci is playful. Baloo is more playful than Bucci, and Bobby is the most playful of them all, which is true. Now, examples when we're using the, which is usually found in the superlative form of the adjective, but we are going to use it as followed by a comparative form because there are only two which are being compared. For example, the name of this big elephant is Bumpy. Okay, because he's got a big bum. So Bumpy is the bigger, the, usually the is followed by biggest, right? But no, 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 no. We are comparing only two elephants. So Bumpy is the bigger of the two elephants. Okay. Rosemary is the older of the two siblings. Okay, she's the older. Okay, but when we are talking and we are comparing, we'll say Rosemary is elder to John, or she's the eldest of all the three sisters. Understood? And the rabbit, or is it a guinea pig? No, rabbit's gone shopping, okay, and wants to take a nap. Okay, so that's all, folks. All right, that's all, and I enjoyed making this video. It was such fun. It was such fun. Okay, I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy it as well, and I hope you watch it. Like I told you, my next videos, which I'm going to post during the summer vacations, will be more detailed, and it won't take so long. It'll be 15-20 minutes max, because only small little topics will be discussed. Okay, but these, because your exams are coming up, the day of the examination is creeping closer and closer. So I'm trying to finish these in a bit of a hurry so that you can look at the videos, revise for your quiz assignments, and you will be the smartest kids on this planet. I promise you. I promise. Okay. So bye from me. It is 1:30. I'm going to just probably maybe have a nice cold glass of lemonade, and then I'm going to wait for my lunch, which will be around probably 2 o'clock, and then I'm going to take a nap, because that is what I do. I love my afternoon naps because I have a beautiful sleep. I sleep for about an hour or two, sometimes more, and then I can't sleep at night, so I put an alarm to make sure that I wake up by 5 at least. Okay? So bye from me. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. Study well for your exams, all subjects, and I love you all so much. And mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay? Bye bye. Why is it not stopping the recording? Why?